What if you could build a mind that's as strong as a fortress, a mind that remains calm and steady no matter what chaos life throws at you? What if the key to this wasn't some new age trend, but an ancient philosophy forged in the fires of the Roman Empire? This isn't about suppressing your emotions or becoming a robot. It's about understanding what you can and can't control. It's a practical toolkit for living a better, more meaningful life, and it's called Stoicism. We're going to explore how this 2,000-year-old philosophy can be your secret weapon in the modern world, helping you navigate everything from a traffic jam to a major life crisis with a sense of peace and resilience you might not have thought possible. We'll look at the lives of a Roman emperor, a playwright who was also one of the richest men in Rome, and a former slave, all of whom used Stoicism to navigate their incredibly different and often difficult lives. So, if you've ever felt overwhelmed by the negativity of the news, the pressure of social media, or just the general uncertainty of life, then this is for you. At its heart, Stoicism is about focusing on what you can control and accepting what you can't. It sounds simple, but it's a profound shift in perspective. The Stoics believe that the world is divided into two parts: the things that are up to us and the things that are not up to us. The things that are up to us are our thoughts, our judgments, and our actions. The things that are not up to us include, well, pretty much everything else: what other people think of us, the economy, the weather, and even our own bodies to a certain extent. The Stoics argued that most of our unhappiness comes from confusing these two categories, from trying to control things that are ultimately out of our hands. Let's look at the big three of Stoicism. First, there's Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor. Here's a guy who had the weight of an entire empire on his shoulders, dealing with wars, plagues, and betrayals. And yet, he found the time to write a personal journal, a series of notes to himself that we now know as meditations. This book is a fascinating look into the mind of a man trying to apply Stoic principles in the most high-stakes environment imaginable. He wasn't writing for an audience. He was writing to remind himself how to be a better person, how to be more virtuous, and how to maintain his inner peace in the face of incredible pressure. One of the surprising things about Marcus is that he was a fan of wrestling and boxing in his youth and even led a dance troupe of priests. This just goes to show that the Stoics weren't just stuffy old philosophers. They were real people with real lives. Then there's Seneca. Seneca's life was a roller coaster. He was a successful playwright, a powerful politician, and one of the richest men in Rome. He was also exiled to the island of Corsica and later forced to commit suicide by his former student, the tyrannical Emperor Nero. Through it all, Seneca wrote extensively about Stoicism, offering practical advice on everything from anger management to dealing with grief. He wasn't afraid to admit his own imperfections, which makes his writing incredibly relatable. He famously said, "We are not given a short life, but we make it short. And we are not ill-supplied, but wasteful of it." And finally, we have Epictetus. His story is perhaps the most inspiring. Born a slave, he was lamed by his master, yet he still managed to become a respected philosopher. After gaining his freedom, he opened a school and taught Stoicism to a generation of students. Epictetus's teachings are all about the power of the mind. He believed that no one can harm you unless you allow them to, because your mind is your own. He said, "Sickness is a hindrance to the body, but not to your ability to choose, unless that is your choice. Lameness is a hindrance to the leg, but not to your ability to choose." It's this radical sense of personal responsibility that makes his philosophy so powerful. Now, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but how does it apply to my life? I'm not a Roman emperor or a slave. And that's a fair question. The problem we all face is that the modern world is a constant barrage of things trying to steal our peace of mind. The 24-hour news cycle, the endless scroll of social media, the pressure to be constantly productive. It's a recipe for anxiety and burnout. This is where the Stoic toolkit comes in. Let's get practical. One of the most powerful Stoic exercises is called the dichotomy of control. It's simple. When you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, ask yourself, is this something I can control, or is it something I can't? If it's something you can't control, like the fact that you're stuck in traffic, then getting angry or frustrated is pointless. It's like yelling at the rain. Instead, you can focus on what you can control, your reaction. You can choose to use that time to listen to a podcast, call a friend, or just practice your breathing. This simple shift in focus can make a huge difference in your daily life. Another powerful exercise is negative visualization. This might sound counterintuitive, but it's about imagining that you've lost the things you value most: your job, your home, your loved ones. The point of this isn't to be morbid, but to cultivate a deep sense of gratitude for what you have right now. As Seneca said, we should treat everything we have as if it's on loan from fortune. This doesn't mean we shouldn't enjoy our possessions or our relationships, but it does mean we shouldn't get too attached to them. By practicing this, we can become more resilient when we do inevitably face loss. And if you're enjoying these practical tips, I'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe to the channel. It really helps us to keep making videos like this one. Now, let's take this a step further. How can we use Stoicism to deal with a real-life problem? Let's say you get fired from your job. This is a classic example of something that's largely out of your control. Your first reaction might be panic, anger, or despair. But a Stoic would take a different approach. First, they'd acknowledge the situation for what it is. You've lost your job. They wouldn't try to sugarcoat it, but they also wouldn't catastrophize. They'd remind themselves that their worth as a person isn't determined by their job title. Then they'd focus on what they can control: updating their resume, networking, learning new skills, and looking for new opportunities. By focusing on their actions, they can turn a crisis into an opportunity for growth. The key moment, the climax of the Stoic journey, is the realization that true freedom and happiness are an inside job. It's not about changing the world around you, but about changing your mind about the world around you. This is the superpower of the Stoics. It's the understanding that you are the ultimate source of your own tranquility. No one can take that away from you unless you let them. As Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, wrote in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, everything can be taken from a man but one thing: the last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. Frankl wasn't a Stoic, but he beautifully captured the essence of their philosophy. So to sum it all up, Stoicism is a practical philosophy for a better life. It's about focusing on what you can control and accepting what you can't. It's about living with virtue, which the Stoics defined as wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. It's about practicing gratitude for what you have and preparing yourself for the inevitable challenges of life.